Uh, so what I'm saying is that one needs to take a guide from a researcher, from a, with a lot of experience. For example, uh, how offices, the standard operating procedures between executive offices are decided. Being director RIC, I had great opportunity to then arrange some high-profile meetings between top management of GIK and different institutions in KP and in Punjab. Uh, and what is usually is happening is that the basic communication would be done by me, my office. But at the same time, it would be initial notes for any memorandum of understanding would be drafted by me with a guide from the higher management. And then when the delegate, the delegate which represents higher management of many universities or think tanks or chambers of commerce or business leaders, or for example, it can as well be from different defense institutions, would then come. Then they would be the simple standard operating procedure would be followed as such, where the delegate is welcomed by the executive offices of Ghulam Ishaq Khan University. Now, same has been true with National Defense University. No general, for example, the president of National Defense University is a lieutenant general, and no general will ever, even if NDU then in 2009 was still, now after Musharraf left the office of the president, now they still have in the gallery they still have pictures with President Musharraf. But then you get the right message from the right people who are the executive who keep the executive offices, and what message they would give is, for example, president of National Defense University would like to reach out to 22 great bureaucrat for him, a secretary of any ministry or minister of any ministry, or a vice chancellor, or owner of a private media channel, or any important person or business leader. They would follow certain SOPs, standard operating procedure, where it would be, the communication would be highly respectful. It would not be based on gossip and personal impressions. They don't. I mean, these kind of things do not really work as such. So the popular media would have a lot of value still if they bring something of an impression that even the offices of highest offices of establishment or political class or elite business class is still approachable by reporting in a manner that is very mundane. And that's totally something, as I understand that, and everybody understands that. President Musharraf, even he said that, he started having a media talk in 2007 or something, where he said, media can say anything about him. And that's what the beauty of media is. They can promote any argument. They can promote the perceptions, maybe, the perceptions of ordinary people about those high offices, these executive offices. So that's something else. But how these offices interact with each other follows a standard SOP with high respect, with open-mindedness, with an aura of diplomacy, and reaching out with serious and sincere purpose. So that needs to be understood. Nobody would really should be, for example, Nawaz Sharif or Asif Ali Zardari, or for example, Rawal Bhutto Zardari, or for example, Honorable Chief Minister Maryam Nawaz Sharif or Maryam Aurangzeb. I mean, in all these cases, most probably the government officials, the executive officers of the government, or business leaders or politicians, when they have formal meetings, they would be approaching each other with high respect, and they practice decency, and it would be generally would be, the formal meetings would be defined through what the business of the day really requires. So it has a certain agenda, and then certain minutes are being taken, So, there's a different level information is flowing all the time. There is mundane information, which could be perceptions, very generalized perception, which could be perception which might make these higher offices very normal, approachable, and that's really great. But then there is another information which is being, managed by middle management. Somebody, like me as director Auric at GIK. And then there is certain SOPs. Of course, Maryam Aurangzeb, she's a minister, and even if I know her from Qadim University, I would seriously recommend that I follow the SOPs. I don't just go there and knock at the door, or go to the ministry and just present myself and say that I'm here to meet Honorable Minister Maryam Aurangzeb. And that's what I would recommend as well. In these troubled times, these times of uncertainty, SOPs should be adhered more sincerely. Of course, I'm not an expert because I have an experience of academia. I mean, what are the SOPs? When military establishment, civil establishment would meet politicians, I have no clue about it. But what I'm saying is that sometimes the media, which is sincerely be putting a certain context of important offices being approachable to the larger Pakistani public, would then can be misunderstood as well by some ordinary person, and can as well so SOPs needs to be followed in all sincerity. That's something. And then let me say a few words representing a little bit of an understanding of military and how things are generally how things are. Now, for example, this recent DGISPR's press conference where only state can announce jihad or military excursion, or private citizens cannot do that. But then just even in the United States of America, private citizens own weapons. In Pakistan as well, for their safety or for many other reasons, some of the Pakistani citizens own weapons. That's entirely different things. There is a distance of a mile, which if you stack books, million books, there's a distance. That's the distance in knowledge, in understanding between a simple citizen carrying any weapon, or when Pakistan police, men and women in uniform, which includes Pakistan Army, would also be having, would be having a weapon for defense purposes, for ensuring law and order. So there's a whole new topic, and then that same logic could then really explain something which needs to be understood in how the issue of nuclear deterrence needs to be understood. People can always say, like Hudbai can always say that he's pro. He's not really for nuclear proliferation, but whereas Pakistan and some of the main countries in the world are they have nuclear capability. But then it is for strategic reasons. It is for deterrence. But still, even if 90% of the issues are managed to then create and practice deterrence to nuclear capability, there might be 0.001 chance and a risk, because if a country has a nuclear weapon, so my friends, you might be able to spend 5 decades, 50 years, or a century really keeping that knowledge that 0.1% chance of a nuclear exchange or a nuclear war, and more, and 99.99% that it is that the deterrence has been ensured, national security has been established, would then this smallest difference would even need to be understood through new knowledge creation, diplomatic exchanges, discussions, and it might take 50 years to then really, or a century, to really establish that nuclear deterrence would 100% lead to national security and would lead to peace outcomes. So you need to understand. What I'm saying is I'm presenting my sheer ignorance, but I'm familiar with certain things. And since inherently I'm a researcher and a PhD researcher with an academic and research experience, what I can do is I can understand the variables. And then I can understand the complexity within the variables to then make a good suggestion of reconsideration for to achieve or to adopt a diplomatic approach towards conflict or towards understanding any social, economic, political, religious issue across the world, and especially for Pakistan. That's what bureaucracy would generally mean. And activism is generally needs to be working closely with the media, and the media, which is an independent media. And then they should, the leaders among those activists, needs to be working with academia to then understand the larger perspectives, to then make informed choices. For example, imagine media. I have never met president shake hand with president of Pakistan or chief of army staff. I'm talking about it as if I know them. No, I have seen them through media. Imagine media people, the simple cameraman, just the quality of his video would make you feel as if you know all the political leaders, all the highest management in establishment, bureaucracy, and all the business leaders personally. But then that's what I'm saying, that the power of media, they are they can access leaders, they can access generals, they can access bureaucrats, they can access business leaders, and everybody respects them for their professional acumen. So, and in the talk shows, so candidly, Pakistan's most known political leaders would come and present their point of view. So media can really manage information. It was adopting a systematic framework which can promote diplomacy. But then, it's just a suggestion, because this political activism might be addressing the concerns of the public, whereas there needs to be reporting whereby everybody, the nation, the common citizen, would then have this confidence that all those executive offices, these elite offices, these leaders are accessible to the common people, and they are not out of ordinary. But this framework needs to be worked upon more to then maybe create political stability in Pakistan, and to then